most people in the world, I think, struggle with vulnerability. And yet it's something that we really like, we intuit is very important. I mean, it's interesting. This summer I watched not a documentary. It was a talk by Brene Brown. Have you ever heard
No,
of
I
this
haven't.
woman? Yeah,
No.
she's really incredible. But her whole thing
Mm-hmm.
is sorry, I'm trying to remember what Brene Brown's entire like shtick is like
Mm-hmm.
helping people understand the importance of vulnerability.
Mm.
And she says like this phrase over and over, like you have to show up in life
Oh.
as opposed to just like kind of hiding yourself and like
Mm-hmm.
being withdrawn
Mm-hmm.
from relationships out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
But she's saying that like being vulnerable is worth the risk. And it's like become this huge phenomenon. I mean, like people love this woman.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting that I think that we really live in a culture where vulnerability is very hard. And we have kind of this like, especially like as Americans, this sort of like reserved quality about us. And we don't really like to let people in. We're not super like affectionate and like, yeah, like to show basically how we feel all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And at the same time, I think we realize like this is somehow inhibiting my ability to like, yeah, to fully like live my life and enjoy my life and ultimately to love other people.
Sure.
This is, yeah, we kind of, it's this predicament. And so like, yeah, the question is like, how do you become vulnerable? How do you let yourself be vulnerable?
That, exactly. What comes to my mind is kind of the pendulum swing of closing yourself and like just responding in total exposure, right? To the point where I don't really care how I'm being received.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't really care. It doesn't matter. I just forget about what people think.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like, that's the total other end of the spectrum that we see in our culture is like, we have, on one hand, we're like very reserved. We kind of like, yeah, there's a lot of this trepidation about like, yeah, being ourselves and being open.
Yeah.
And on the other end of the spectrum, it's just like, in response to that, I'm just going to like share everything with everyone all the time and like not be ashamed. And I think that it's interesting, but I think that that's not quite the answer either.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of like help think through during this episode, like
Yeah.
what is like authentic vulnerability?